Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of London's Pretty Cool. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Briggs.
And I'm the other host, Erin Briggs.
And we are sitting down with a selection of incredible guests today. We've been trying to get this episode happening for a little while now. We are sitting down here with Savannah, Sewell, Aaliyah, Stewart, and Hannah Fayad. How are you doing today?
Really good.
Good.
Good. I'm good.
We're sitting down with one of basically the starters of this incredible London Girls Rock Camp, something that has been rocking the city for a few years now, and something that even though I'm not a camper, look forward to every year. The excitement around it and the creativity and music that comes out of it. But I'm rambling here. Do you mind, Savannah, if you give us just like a quick little rundown of what London Girls Rock Camp is and how it started?
So in 2015, I was having some conversations. I guess it probably was 2014, but anyways, was having chats with some folks in the community. And I was chatting with a friend who had actually worked on the Sackville Rock Camp. And I was kind of like, hold on a second. Sackville, New Brunswick has a rock camp? Like, how do we make this happen here? So I started reaching out to some people that I knew. And then I found out that Lori McColman had actually done a week of rock camp in 2011. Aaliyah, is that right?
Yeah.
And Aaliyah actually went to that camp in 2011 as a camper. And so Lori did her camp in 2011. I did not know Lori at that time. So then we fast forward to end of 2014, 2015, and someone had put me in touch. And anyways, I was like, hey, Lori, we want to do this thing again. What are your thoughts? And will you be a part of it? And so, yeah, we just started reaching out to people. And Aaliyah, who's also here today with us, she joined the crew basically right away and also has that camper experience, which is amazing. And then, we just started rolling it out that way. The amazing thing about rock camps is that you can just do them in any community. There's no like official rule book or branding guidelines or specifics. It's pretty much understood that in the sort of like DIY ethos that it's a pretty punk rock thing to just do it and to just get it going in your community. And so we started building out programming in 2015, and then here we are in 2021. Is it 2021? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
the last year and a half is like all a mush. And then here we are still rolling. But that's sort of the quick beginning of us in this current format. And so when we founded in 2015 rather, since then, we've been running camp in person at the Fanshawe campus downtown. So they were basically my next call after I had rallied a bunch of people. Then I was like, okay, we need a venue. And the school had just finished construction. And so they said yes right away. So they've been an amazing partner since the beginning, which has been, honestly, I think, Aaliyah, because Hanan joined our team this year during COVID. So Hanan has not even done camp in real life, which is also amazing. And we can talk about that at some point too. But I think Aaliyah can really attest for that venue is so important for
Absolutely.
camp. And it's just so magical. We're so thankful for it. So it's evolved. That's for sure.
London Girls Rock Camp is a completely female-led camp, and it's for girls. How has creating this environment helped kind of create a safe space for female or those who are identify as female to learn their instruments and kind of gain confidence in the music scene?
Well, I'll start that one, and then I'll let the others step in. But one of the things that I think is really important to recognize is that camp is evolving, and camp has evolved and will continue to evolve. And so even the word girl is now up for conversation. Our team just had the opportunity, again, this is a positive of COVID. So Girls Rock Camp Alliance is an international alliance of all the rock camps around the world. And so we would never be able to afford to send our staff or go to this conference in real life. This year we were able to attend virtually, and it was amazing because we sent everybody. I just said to everyone on our team, whoever wants to go, sign up for whatever you can. And there's a conversation happening at an international level about if the word girl make sense still because of the way that the world is evolving and the way that we are all working so hard to break down these gender categories and make it, you know, much more open and flexible and fluid, and be there to support kids who are having those experiences has really been, I would say, probably one of the most important and organic things that just happens at camp. It just becomes this space for people to be themselves, which is really important. So I would say that that's pretty top of mind for us. We were kind of already having this conversation as a team, and yeah, nothing's happening right away when it comes to the word girl, but I think it's just really important that we recognize that things are changing and that we want to do the best that we can to support our campers who come through our doors, because we do support people who are trans. We do support people who are non-binary. And so, you know, as the best thing about it, that even since, you know, we've been involved since 2015, is we've seen these conversations change, and kids are so amazing. When you start having these conversations with kids at an early age, they don't care. Like, I shouldn't say it like that. They don't care about, you know, each other or anything like that, but it's just when we normalize this, I guess is what I'm saying, that I've found that the more we normalize these conversations, and maybe camp is the only place that people are having these conversations in their lives. So it's really important that we always stick to that. So anyways, that's what I would say as a starting point with even just the word girl. But I would say that regardless of how folks identify, the door is open, and it's been really important for us to be that space, and that it's amazing what you can see happen in a week when you give kids the support and the space to be themselves, write music, explore creativity. Magic always happens at the end. And I don't know, maybe Aaliyah, you can attest because you were a camper and now you've seen it on the staff side too.
Yeah, it's definitely been really great to watch the evolving of camp, but also specifically the being a camper, you get to watch all of these women teach you how to play these instruments and everything, and you're like, wow, I can see myself in their shoes. Because it's really hard for me to look at all these male musicians and be like, oh, I could maybe be that someday, but you have that direct, that could be me. Plus, it's not even just the campers looking up to the staff, but it's also the staff looking at each other and working together and learning from each other. And we're learning a lot from the campers too, which is super cool. And we've created such a safe space that everyone's able to also find themselves and their music, which is amazing. So camp has really taught everyone something. It's for everyone to learn.
Yeah.
You're making me reminisce. If you know, like thinking about camp. You're so right. Camp is totally a place where like you kind of let go of that whole world that you live in school, especially at that young age, and you kind of go like, maybe I can be who I want to be around these people, you know, and I won't get judged by these people who have known me already my whole life, you know. And it totally, I do recall camp just really being that opportunity for me. So that's really great that you're noticing and like taking advantage of making that happen for these kids.
Yeah, it's like the fundamental of what we you know, of what we do, and I don't think we set out maybe thinking that way, but it's happened, and it's really yeah, it's really important, I think.
So camp, this is from what I've noticed, and from someone who's not really a musician or in the music scene whatsoever, Girls Rock Camp literally seems to go from like 0 to 100 in 1 week. Like kids start not even picking up an instrument. They have no idea even what it is necessarily. And by the end of the week, they have formed a band and written original songs. It just seems absolutely insane. And I would just want to know how, because I could not do that even if I had like a whole month. I would not be able to write a song at the end of it.
Erin, you could. You could. You
Thanks.
could. And this is it, right? We don't it comes back to what even Pat was saying, like letting yourself go and just being in the moment. And that's the thing about being an adult. Sometimes like being adult sucks. Being, you know, it's hard. And we have parents all the time ask us, like, when's mom camp or when's adult rock camp? Because I think people want that moment to just live in it. I mean, it's the same with Gricklegrass. Like, Gricklegrass was fun because you got to go to the Children's Museum as an adult and let go and just be in a moment and just hit play and just remind yourself that you're allowed to have fun. And, you know, as adults, we don't usually get to take a week off and go to camp, but you'd be surprised what you could do. And I think sometimes we don't give kids enough credit. I don't know. It just, this world needs to be built around kids and listening to those voices of kids so much more than it is. And, you know, I would say these things even before I was a parent, but I'll say them even more now. And, you know, just making sure that those little people are validated. And so giving them that moment for a week feels like the least we can do. Because they deserve to explore those options. And again, sometimes this is the only place a kid will pick up an instrument. Or yeah, they've never done it, or they come with their own guitar. You know, we take the gamut of experience. And that's, again, the beauty of it, is that you can show up with nothing and come up with something. And that's why the confidence piece really is important. You know, it can be really intimidating to show up on the first day of school or the first day of camp and not know anybody, or and that's why as staff we take it really seriously to make sure that we are trying our best to connect with campers. And the LIT program, like our leaders in training, having those former campers come on board and transition with us into staff is really important. Having a strong volunteer base is important so that kids immediately feel comfortable. We want them to walk in and just be prepared to let it all out and let it all flow. And then it's also really important that we do other things other than music, right? Mm-hmm. So we talk about identity, we talk about gender, we talk about body positivity. Maybe we go to the splash pad, maybe we have a pizza party, you know, but we work really hard to, just give that space, because for a lot of people, we don't get to have that space. So I would say that and again, I'm not like a children's expert, but I've just been doing this camp for a while and been able to see that that's kind of the secret sauce, is just making that available and making yourself available as an adult to them. And, you know, we've had some difficult things we've had to navigate as a team, but we always come out on the better of it. And, you know, this last camp we did virtually, you know, Hanan had never been in camp in person before. And so, you know, like, I wonder, Hanan, how your experience was virtually trying to like pull that creativity out of kids. Like, you are obviously still able to do it.
Yeah, I had a really positive group too. I feel like at first, the first day, and we use a program called Soundtrap. It's a recording software with our bands, quote unquote bands, if you want to say that, because it's definitely, it doesn't have to be a band formula. And with Soundtrap, they have this great loop library bank that the kids went crazy with, and they basically used that up a lot to cut up songs and everything, and basically did production in that sense. So I feel like once they figured out the loop library and the options that they had with that and the different tones they could achieve that way, gave them more ideas with what they could write and everything. It was like tricky the first day. They're a little shy and stuff, obviously, but by the end they were so warmed up and like they were chatting with each other. It was just like a big like showing of each other's work, and they're just like excited to show each other what they're working on. So.
Yeah, we were so worried, you know, how would this translate online? Are the kids still going to be able to connect? Are you still going to make friends? And the answer is yes.
Definitely.
So that was really amazing to see in the virtual space as well, because again, we pride ourselves in that on that in real life. So anyways, it was cool to see it.
You know, the day-to-day of regular camp can be strenuous, you know, and can be a lot on like, you know, like when you're saying you have the space and you have the instruments and the kids have their lunches, they've been dropped off. But doing it online, the day-to-day can be a little different. Now, we wanted to ask about how it was run this year specifically, but do you mind if we go over just the day-to-day of a camp regularly as well? So just like, you know, I know that they choose an instrument to play early on in the week, and there's actually an opportunity where you guys bring in different bands that to show off like community members as well, which is really cool. Do you mind getting into that a little bit?
It's a lot. Like when I think about it, my head kind of does start to go like, whoa, okay, yeah, a full day, a full week is really, really, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very, there's a lot of stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why at the end of the day, kids don't want to go home. They want to just keep on partying. But basically, our mornings are the same. So every morning you go into your instrument lesson. So we organize that in advance through the registration process. We find out, you know, kids rank what they want to play. And then we figure out, you know, we want to make sure there's enough instruments in each band. So that's how we identify who goes where. And then we always have lunch. And so, yes, we do have different performers, either from the community or bands that are on tour. We've had some great like touring acts play, like Mauno and Ghost Keeper and, you know, Jennifer
Very
Cass. So
cool.
like we've had some amazing bands play for these kids over the years who are on tour. And I'm like, want to come play a lunchtime gig? And the bands were like, yeah, of course I want to play a show at 11 a.m. and not have to like stay up all night at a bar to play for my $100. So yeah, the bands play, and then in the afternoon, we usually do one workshop, whether that's zine making, screen printing. We do like band logo and band name workshop. Help me out, Aaliyah and Hanan.
We've done like we do posters. We also post posters around town. That's one of the things that we do.
Cool.
We do button making on the last day as well. For the screen printing, like they do all their designs earlier on in the week, and then we take those designs and with the kids we screen print them on the t-shirts that they get to wear at the show with their band logo on it. Yeah.
So cool.
Band tees, very important.
Yep.
Yeah, we make posters. We do like the different talks, so that we also do include like the body positivity, the gender stuff. Growing Chefs provides our lunch every day, so kids get a hot lunch, and then they provide us snacks as well. And then in the afternoon, after that workshop, they cruise into band. So then they go to band and they jam for the afternoon, and then yeah, we meet back at the end of the day in the I was gonna say the arena. It's not an arena. The auditorium, thank you, that's the word, Savannah. And we just do like a check-in. We make sure everybody's doing okay. Probably do some sort of like game. We do lots of camp games. And then they sail off into their homes and then come back the next day. So it's a jam-packed week.
Yeah,
the days are really busy.
But it just sounds like a riot of a time. Like no matter what, you're doing something that sounds so fun. Yeah, I would agree. I do think there needs to be an adult rock camp. I'm putting
Took
that
the words
in.
out of my mouth. Absolutely, yeah.
I want to do all of that.
I've been a person that only been playing music for a handful of years. Like I've been playing music for 2 years, but it's been an intense 2 years of music. And I always get, especially women my age, being like, oh, like that's so amazing that you learned to play. I learned to play when I was 25, 26 years old. So it's, you know, it's never too late to learn. And there's so many women that, or like even men or anything, like, you know, they just don't really believe in themselves at that age sometimes that they could play an instrument, but it's doable.
Totally.
Yeah.
I say that all the time to people, you know, people can learn a language, come over to different countries and like live different lives. And then they'll say to me, oh, I couldn't learn guitar. No way. You know, I think that is ridiculous. You know, I think you've already proven to me that you can accomplish so many things. I don't know what you're talking about here. So I'm with you there.
I would say too that I've been watching these kids since 2015. I'm like, did that 7-year-old just learn how to do that?
Oh yeah.
I need to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, I gotta like get my shit together because like these kids are. And then when I was on mat leave, I was like, okay, I'm ready to like learn how to strum some simple chords. I am surrounded by music and musicians. All right, I'm ready. And then like during the pandemic, I just like picked up the bass. I am not a good bass player, but I was just like, you know what? I'm like thinking about the kids, and it's so inspiring. You're like, yes, I can try this. So yeah, it's a real thing. You can do it.
I remember seeing posts about rock camp before I learned to play music, and I was like, oh, this is like, where was this when I was a kid? Like, that's what I'd always think. It's like, oh, I want rock camp. So yeah, it's awesome.
It's great to hear just like how inspiring and how great all these kids are. It just makes me think of our one of our past guests, Thunder Queens, which is camp graduate, right? Oh, nice, you got the shirt and everything.
Actually, by coincidence, that I was wearing this shirt today.
That is amazing. I have a Thunder Queens poster on my desk too. Yeah, we're big fans.
Yeah, and they're so inspiring to just see what they've been able to do. It's just like, yeah, if they could do it then, why can't I do this now? So
they're also like, Adam and I talk about this all the time. They're basically the most popular band in London. Mm-hmm. So
it's crazy.
Honestly,
one of our most it was to say it's one of our most popular podcast episodes.
Really?
Yeah,
nice.
People love it.
That's awesome.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Yeah, they're amazing, and they were getting so many show offers before the pandemic, and so I hope that continues for them, and they can keep jamming and getting so amazing at their instruments and growing into themselves. And there's a few other really good bands that started at camp and have evolved, but obviously Lonely Parade is a good one too. They all came out of the Peterborough camp. And
no way, I did not know that. I listen to that band all the time. That's amazing.
They're the best. And awesome. Augusta actually came and did a week with us one year at Rock Camp, which was awesome. And but yeah, there's lots of them, but that's another good example of just like, when you start young and you just keep on playing, the world is your oyster. And they just paved the way, right? They just paved the way for, like Aaliyah was saying earlier about like seeing yourself, right? That's what this is about. We want, no matter how you identify, we want you to see yourself out there doing this work. Whether it is behind the scenes, whether it's in front of the stage, we want you to see yourself reflected. So the more that we can do, we have a responsibility, I actually think, as an organization to do our best. And it's also really important for us to make sure that we're keeping in mind, not just about the word girl, but like who's on our staff. Like we have to make sure that our staff is like representative of that, and that our volunteers and our programming is diverse and inclusive, because like that's your responsibility in 2021 if you're running an organization, as far as I can say, so all of these things matter, so that again we can normalize this stuff, so that we can stop having uncomfortable conversations with boomers. Which is my middle name right now.
Yeah. Well, going a little bit back to the camp, what was it difficult in the early years of the program to find instruments for everyone who wants to be a camper and everything? Because having multiple electric guitars and drum kits can't be cheap or easy to find.
Yeah, well, in the early years we sent out a lot of messages saying, hey, can we borrow your stuff?
I remember that was really cool. It was like a bunch of musicians in the scene were tossing out guitars and stuff for the camp. I remember that.
Yeah, we have a drum kit from Manager for sure up there somewhere. Yeah, we've got a long list of people to thank in our liner notes of all the things that have been donated to us. Yeah, I mean, Aaliyah, those drum kits year one, I honestly don't even remember what we would have used.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of random things donated, like a random snare here, random tom here. We just makeshifted Frankenstein drum kits, and there we go. That's pretty much how it was.
It was that first year, now that I'm thinking about it, it was so crazy because, yeah, people were donating stuff, and then we had people asking to volunteer. And I remember I sent a volunteer to like St. Thomas to get a drum kit and bring it back. And, it was just kind of really crazy. But it was a positive experience because we were like, wow, the community actually wants to see this and cares to see this kind of program off the ground. So that was encouraging. And then we wrote to some people and asked them for things. So Daisy Rock Guitars gave us a few guitars. And then Lori actually had some stuff from the year that she had run camp too, which was also amazing. That's right. Sorry, I'm just thinking about all of this as you're asking me. So we had a couple other guitars, and then everyone was a musician that was involved in camp. So it felt like, yeah, we were just pulling from our own kind of community bank. And then as the years progressed and people knew about us, all of a sudden we would just start getting, amps dropped off at my house, or somebody would be like, oh, hey, this person donated us, or we would get messages on the Facebook from someone who heard about us and wanted to help out. So that was really encouraging in the beginning. And and then things have certainly evolved. But I guess your question is about the early days. So I'll just leave it at that. The early days were wild, but we got a lot of really great community support for sure.
It's great to see how kind of London and just the music scene stepped up and really helped out to make sure it got done. It's great to hear. Yeah.
She got done. It wasn't necessarily the most amazing those setups. What's funny is I was recently looking at old photos, and we had this drum kit that we used to call the dad kit, and it got donated to us, and it was definitely like a dad who in his youth played in some sort of band and donated us the kit. Anyways, there's a sticker on the drum, and again, because I was looking through old photos recently, and the photographer had just taken a picture, and like it was like the bass drum was like covered in stickers, and there's a sticker that says Canadian girls kick ass on it, and I'm like kind of mortified by the sticker. Oh my god. Anyways, oh yeah, early gear.
Yeah.
Take anything you can get, right? You put a piece of tape over that
Right.
sticker, and you keep moving.
We're thankful. Don't get me wrong. We're very thankful.
Kind of speaking about how the music scene has stepped up, the camp is completely volunteer run. So like, how have you found it? Have you found it difficult to find volunteers, or were you surprised by how many people are willing to volunteer their time to come and help out?
Well, I would love to tell you that actually things have, speaking of have evolved. One of the things that we've started to do as a mandate as an organization is to pay all of our staff. It's really important that we pay the staff because, people have to take time off work. People are musicians and creatives, and they work in the scene and tour and do those different kinds of things. So we've actually evolved into making sure that all the staff do get paid. We do have volunteers, and we're very specific with that ask when we put that out to the community that we do have a role for volunteers. But we do also work very hard to pay everyone that comes on as a staff. That's not how all camps, like rock camps, work, but it's one that's kind of worked for us because I've worked so much gig work and freelance work, and I just think it's really important because if we're trying to set an example for career and different career opportunities and paths that kids can take, they need to see that and be validated by that. It's not to say that we don't value volunteers and that there's not a place for it, but there is also a place for this to be a path that you could take, and the industry needs more representation as well. So any opportunity, once again, that we can lead by example, I think is really important for us. So it's not, to answer your question though as well, is that it's not hard to find volunteers. We usually have lots of people asking. I mean, Aaliyah can answer to that. She runs our volunteer program. So I think I get messages and requests just in my daily, what can I do to help? Oh, I don't play an instrument. How else can I help? We'll take them. We always have stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always have people asking, hey, can I volunteer? I have no experience, or I have lots of experience. How can I help? And there's literally a role for everybody, because sometimes all it is, hey, can you help with lunch stuff? Can you help do karaoke for the kids, because they love karaoke? And then we have our LITs, which are like volunteering for us to still stay in camp. And hopefully our goal is for them to be the next staff. So it's kind of, we're doing volunteering from getting from the community, but also within our own organization too.
Speaking of, from from within the organization, Aaliyah, you have turned from camper to leader. You have made that transition. You are now teaching these kids. What made you want to attend the camp in the first place?
When I had attended the first time, it was just, Lori was a family friend of ours and had talked about this camp, and I loved music when I was little anyways. So we signed me up. It was March break. What else I was going to do? One of my friends came with me. I started playing drums that week, and I had so much fun. I had never even thought that drums was something I was going to be able to play. And then I made music. I performed at Norma Jean's. Like, it was incredible. And then I was really upset when there was no camp, because Marigold Studios had flooded, and that's where we were using. So we had to wait a few years. And then I found Savannah, and that she opened up another camp. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I want to get back into this. I want to give the kids the great experience that I had and help with anything that I could. And I started by just, literally all I did was sit in and help with drum lessons. And then I am now the volunteer coordinator. So I take on like kind of supporting and helping the LITs and the volunteers and figuring out what they have to do during camp to help. And I'm even like taking on more admin tasks now that we're doing everything online. So it's really been anything to help the campers really get that positive experience that I did.
I love that. Speaking of positive experiences, what was your favorite experience as a camper?
So my favorite experience was, it's actually captured on video somewhere in our rock camp page, but it was just, there was only 12 of us at the original camp, and we were only allowed to play music at specific hours of the day, and we could only play one at a time, like one band at a time, because there was only one room and one of each like drum kit. So while one band was playing, there was 6 of us in the basement doing arts and crafts, and we literally hand painted posters for behind us at our show, and we hand painted our own shirts and everything, and we were all just sitting there singing and laughing and having a good time. And I think that's my favorite experience, because that's when I made some really, really great friends. And it's just that kind of home feel that you get at camp. It was like no other.
That's amazing.
I was gonna say, that sounds so nice. Like my cheeks hurt from smiling.
Yeah, it was great.
You can really feel like the special vibes from camp. Like even I've only been at camp one round teaching, and I left glowing after that week. It was pretty hard to come down after that week.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get to the end of the show and it will be so emotional. Like you and your campers will be sitting there crying, because you're like, wow, you have come so far in just 1 week, and you create such a bond with your friends, with the campers, and everyone's just so emotional, because it's like, wow, we just did that. We just played 3 shows on stage. How do we get from not knowing each other, not knowing these instruments, to that? It's absolutely incredible.
Just so amazing to hear. Yeah.
The show.
Yeah.
The show is so important.
Aaliyah, just last question. How has going to Girls Rock Camp helped you with your musical abilities and confidence when performing?
Well, I never really thought performing was something for me. Like anything in front of people when I was little, I didn't really love. But I grew in my confidence because I was like, if I can pick up the drums in a week and just make a song, why can't I do anything else? Why can't I say a speech in front of people? You know what I mean? So it helped me just with my overall confidence and just, hey, I'm a really cool woman and I can do literally anything. Like that was the coolest thing. And then it kind of grew my like passion for music. So as I got older, I was doing anything I could to do projects about women in music, to spread the word about camp. I joined like my school band in high school, which I don't think I would have done originally. And like doing all of that. And even a couple of years ago, we had a band and one of their drummers couldn't make the show. So I stepped in for them. That's something that
Cool.
like 12 years ago, I would not have done. But the fact that like I have the confidence and I have the ability to now is just absolutely wild to me.
Also, I just want to gush about Aaliyah for a second because she is so amazing and such like an amazing part of our team. And the LIT, honestly, that makes me emotional. I'm not gonna cry. The LIT are like the dream. They're like they're just like the glue because again, that like skill share, that transfer, that knowledge, that connectivity, it's like so important because even if you leave rock camp and you've been involved for 5 or 6 or 7 years and you don't go into music, that is also really okay. It's really important to know we're not just making music industry professionals. It's like, no, like Aaliyah, I mean, this girl's going to be like an amazing human when she's done school. She's like in university killing it right now.
Yeah.
And so like working her butt off and, having these like foundational skills here are really transferable. And that's what we always try to encourage, especially with some of our other LIT, like um, has just recently let us know that they're going to get into music production. It's like, great, amazing, of course. And if there's anything we can do to help support that through the process, we're here to do that. But no matter what your path is, these are really important skills. Like I have signed more 40 hours of volunteer work sheets and I will continue to do it till the day that I cannot do it anymore, because we want to just make sure that we're passing on those skills and that it's all transferable no matter what path you take.
Yeah, and some people are even learning more about themselves too. Like it goes just beyond like musical ability and confidence and like friend making and everything. Some people have like genuinely found like their gender identity because they had no idea going into it. But then we had these conversations about what gender is, and some of them have tried out new pronouns at camp because they feel safe to do so. And I think that's even more beautiful because we're giving them a safe space to literally find themselves and then just explore their musical abilities and their confidence. And it's great.
That just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder then, because it's such an experience where, yeah, like you're in it and it's kind of tunnel vision for the whole week. For this year, because it was a virtual camp, like how did that change, and what how has the camp adapted to this new format?
Well, it was scary at first. I mean, we definitely weren't sure we could do it. I think at the beginning of the pandemic. Well, because the pandemic hit and we had a March break scheduled. That's right. We had a March break. We were going to do like a songwriting intensive at my house. And the week of, the whole world shut down. And so we canceled it because March break is traditionally that sort of like March 17th, 15th, whatever, like around that time. And so then we were just like, whoa, put the brakes on. Like we have to just cancel everything. And then it took us a while to get back on the horse because it was just, I don't know, for me anyways, it was hard to wrap my head around like, how are we going to do this with instruments and talking and sharing, and how do you songwrite together on the internet, and are we doing everything on Zoom? Like, I don't know, will it work? And so I would say it took us a minute to really think about it, but you know what? We started to see things creep back up. For me, I would say both not just with rock camp, but I would say in general in pandemic life, the first thing that I saw online that blew me away was Venus Fest, an amazing festival that happens in Toronto. And they adapted incredibly so to the online format with amazing, striking visuals, incredible programming. They did town halls, they did conferences, they did panels, they did performances, they did art. It was an amazing transfer to the digital space. So Venus Fest, look it up. Beyond it being COVID, they're an amazing organization and festival that focuses on female and female identifying artists. So then I was like, okay, maybe we could try to think about doing some of this. And we just kept the conversation open, heard about Soundtrap. I think it was Davida who had heard about Soundtrap through the Montreal Rock Camp. I think that's how that went down.
Yeah.
So we started to learn a little bit about, okay, maybe we're going to need some sort of software. So anyways, it took us a while to kind of piece it together. But once we figured out that, and the kids were online learning, they were already at home, likely had access to a device, were kind of used to doing some of this stuff. We also, thanks to Aaliyah, introduced and started using Google Classroom as well. Again, a tool that most kids were used to using. So once we figured out we could kind of communicate and piece it together, we got ourselves a premium Zoom account with breakout rooms. And we realized, okay, we can probably do this. And then just started to put the pieces together and then figure out who could come in to help with what. So, that's when Hanan came on board. And because also people's schedules were very different too, right? So it was also kind of a staff shuffle to just say, okay, who was available, who wasn't. So it was a lot, I will say, to get us there. There was I would say a steep learning curve to get us to that digital platform, but then it translated really well. We did end up delivering camp kits to everybody's house. We delivered instruments, like we lent out instruments to students who needed them because we have a great library now. We have a lot of really great gear now, so we were able to lend out gear. And then we picked it all back up at the end of the week. And we also did one, instead of a full week of lunches with Growing Chefs, we did one. So that was also really awesome because Growing Chefs, let's just give them a bunch of love and shout out because they have transformed their entire organization online as well. So they're like, it's pro. I don't know if you've done like a
Their
digital...
cooking videos are very legit. I was so impressed by that. The camera angles, the wireless mics.
Full deal, the real deal. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. So the kids all had a lunch kit that either we delivered or their parents picked up the night before. And yeah, like they had crazy angles. So they had like the overview angle and we're watching and we all got to cook together. I mean, it was nuts.
Kids had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could hear
That's
the
so
kids in the
cool.
background. They were like, Mom, come try this.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Kids in the kitchen, like trying to find a bowl and like the clanging. And it was so nice. It was like we were still together and we were still doing this activity together. Same with zines. Zines were a little bit more tricky because the folding of the paper, but we got through it. Still, like Andre came on, it was same thing. Like everybody set up like dual angles. I mean, so
Impressive.
I would say that lots of people, not just our organization, but lots and lots of people have gained new skills during the pandemic for sure. Like people's digital skills are in a whole new atmosphere. I would say that was like my biggest eye-opening, moment was just to see, oh yeah, everyone can do this. So we got there. We did it.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it took all the young tech savvy people to help us, and Bree on our team as well. Lou Kim is also like a tech wizard, and Bree's in Vancouver, and this is the other thing. Bree moved to Vancouver, but because we did camp online, she could join our team. So from Vancouver every morning, Bree helped us out. So yeah,
That's
the
crazy.
accessibility with the digital thing was really cool.
Yeah, plus I was up in Thunder Bay, so I was actually able to still do camp even though I was up in Thunder Bay finishing my classes and getting ready to move back here. So it just made it so everyone could help out from no matter where they were.
It seems like everybody who could did too, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool too for we all of the staff had to learn how to use Soundtrap. Some of us have never used music software at all. And Soundtrap's pretty intuitive for the most part, a little bit of like learning curve and stuff. So we actually had, what was her name? Isabel Sav? Yeah, we had Isabel do a little tutorial for us from the Montreal Girls Rock Camp on how to use Soundtrap because they had used it in their last round of rock camp. So it was kind of cool to have that crossover.
That's so cool that you guys were able to teach them like an actual program to use for their music as well, because they can. It's like you're saying, you can take that so far. You know, who knows what direction any of the campers could take with that knowledge. It's super exciting.
I've had a couple of campers, because we still get notifications, like kids can, yes, I was laughing, especially my one kid that was in my band. She's solid, still working on her songs all the time. But I had one camper, she sent me a song that she sung and played piano on all by herself. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing that she just figured out how to record this song and now she can show everybody. She can post it online. Like, that's so cool, you know?
That's amazing.
It's probably a tool that once we're back in real life, we'll probably figure out. Yeah.
It's cool.
Because again, it's like another skill that they can take with them. And that even when they're not at camp, you can do it because you can make music in your bedroom, you know?
They could walk away with the end of the week. Sorry, Aaron. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, how many people probably didn't even know that, or probably fell in love with music production and maybe are going to go on to be producers. It was nothing that they would ever be able to try, right? You can't really try all those with different equipment and gear and stuff like that because it's expensive trying to get software usually, or it's hard to figure out. So it's opened a completely new, maybe like career option for a lot of these people.
It's a very accessible software. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that too, maybe at the end of the week, they could walk away with a recording as well.
Yeah, because we would typically record the live performance and then put that up on our Bandcamp, but this is even sort of the next level, the next step up. So yeah, we would just have to figure out how to incorporate that into the day-to-day. But I think it's an amazing tool. It's all cloud-based too, so it's really cool because you can contribute from different places. People's changes are saved, and anyways, it's it's cool.
This summer, actually, just kind of going along with that, you are offering 2 different levels this year. There's the intro to rock and then next level rock. So why did you decide to offer this new option, and what does this new level kind of offer the campers?
So I would say that we've probably been talking about doing something like this for a while because we do have so many return campers and we love them and we want to keep them engaged and challenged in new ways. And so it felt like maybe this was the chance to try it because we're doing them virtually again. And so because the learning curve for not only for staff but for campers has been acquired already, so like you have to know how to use Soundtrap or some sort of digital recording software to participate in sort of the next level rock week, so we can get a little bit more in depth, right? Get a little bit more into it, have bigger conversations depending on what the subject matter is, and I think the theme would be to just dig a little bit deeper. Camp is a lot of fun and it's a really important that we keep it fun and high level, but I think also to recognize that some of our kids are really good and that they should also get to experience some of those other, just like the next level for them. And it also helps us as staff keep fresh, keep our, curriculums flowing and changing and evolving too. And that we're not just always teaching the same thing. Intro is really important and fundamental and fun. And so keeping that is a good place to start too. So we didn't want to exclude anybody, right? Because camp it's so important that we are as inclusive as we possibly can. And we didn't want to put up barriers by only having sort of this next level rock week. So we thought, okay, well then let's do an intro week and see if that's helpful. So this is the beautiful thing also about rock camp is like, it's all just a big experiment. And we try our best to be open with guardians and parents that, hey, we're trying something new, want to come along for the ride. And it's, I think it's good for us so that we can just always be on our toes. So I don't know.
Nice.
We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I think our more advanced campers will be excited to try it out too. That's my thought, or our thought rather, not just mine. But
no, I could see that. You loved this so much, but you come back and you're like, I know all this already. I want the next step. Yes, I totally get that. So that's awesome that you're offering that. That's really cool.
All right, I would like to talk about the final show. So this is a big deal. You get everyone normally in person. I'm not sure, you can let us know how it works in virtually, but normally you get everyone in person. You have all the parents and friends coming to watch. How is it getting all these first-time bands to get up, perform, getting all of this recording and sound and everything to come together? It just seems like a lot of work, but it always comes out great.
I just wanted to also note before you answer that there's also been times where you open up the wall of the community too. Like I've shown up and watched the end of the week performances, from the patio, like, or from the street, like there is a crowd of people ready to watch these campers at the end of the week.
It's definitely become a staple, I would say, in the music community. You look back and you see like everyone who's in bands in town or who played at lunch that week come back to see the show. Yeah, I don't know, Aaliyah, what do you think? How would you describe the show?
It's really cool because all the kids are ready. Like, this is what we've been working out for all week. It's usually not too hard to get them to be like, okay, yes, we're doing this. And then we always do a sound check before the show. We get pizza before the show. We do splash pad usually on the Friday. It's usually just a relaxing day. Get with your band, do your final touches. We get the set list beforehand so they all know where they're gonna go. And usually Stav goes up and she's the MC. She lets everyone know, hey, this band is coming up next. But then whatever staff member worked with them that week, they get to go up and kind of talk about that band's journey. And then the kids start playing. Sometimes the kids introduce themselves, and the music that comes out of it, amazing. Sometimes you have a few little glitches here and there that you're like, oh no, this isn't working. Or, you have music stands falling in the middle of the show. So you have to go up and fix it. But we always figure it out. The campers are always so confident, and it's just amazing to see the community come and watch the show and buy the merch, because we always have like London Girls Rock Camp merch to buy at the show. The kids actually sit there at the table selling it. Like, it's incredible. And all the songs on Bandcamp, some of them are amazing, and I I hope I hear them again one day live.
Yeah, it's a pretty special thing for staff and community and parents. I think parents are used to these kind of like recital type things. So, it's sometimes really hot and everyone like shuffles in, and it's like there's a million kids because everyone has siblings or younger, there's like babies crying, and but it is so joyful. And honestly, I would say that even the audience is fully entertained from front to back. And we do our best. We work so hard to be as encouraging throughout the week. I mean, and so some of us, depending on how the week rolls out, don't get to hear each other. You know, you maybe see somebody in the morning in lessons, but then you don't get to see the full song until that moment. And so there's like joy and just pure happiness and love for your friends to see them reach these new places, or see a camper totally come out of their shell, you know, people switching instruments halfway through the set, or like someone saying, you know, I wrote this song and brought it to my band, and then they do this amazing singing solo, or beautiful harmonies, or just like all these magical things happen that you're prepared for it as a whole, but like to see specific kids just really shine in that moment is really amazing. And then I would say to Hanan, who was part of our digital camp, I mean, we still pulled off the show virtually. And I mean, I would love to hear how you thought about that virtual showcase, because it was pretty similar in the sense that like you don't get to hear all the kids, but then they have these breakout moments.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was awesome to see, because you're watching the Zoom chat the whole time, and they're so supportive. Like you had saved the Zoom chat, you had said, Savannah, and just like seeing the things that the kids are saying, like they're so supportive of each other, they're cheering each other on. It's so cool to see how encouraging they are, you know. And there's points where maybe a kid wasn't ready for their turn in the talent shows, so to speak, and they try and encourage them, but they're like, it's okay, like you don't have to go. But by the end of the show, they ended up wanting to play their song in the end. So, you know, it was really cool to see how encouraging everyone was for each other. And yeah, everyone's songs came together perfectly. Each band had like one song at least, like some had like two or three. And then some kids had their own songs too that they made on Soundtrap, or they did a cover of a song and sang and played their instrument. Yeah, it was really special for sure. Yeah, all the kids made posters of their band names, and we held them up on screen to introduce bands and stuff. It was great. We figured it out.
Yeah, a few technical glitches on the show, and I will admit,
Yeah,
but we got through it. It was good.
it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that we had done for the first time. We let the campers sign up as individual acts if they wanted to. And that was amazing to see, because usually the kids love to play karaoke during the week. And so to see the campers just sit there and say, hey, I'm just going to sing a song, or I'm going to show you some of the cool songs I wrote. Like, it's super, super cool to watch, because that's not something we get to see in the in-person camp.
I feel like having that too this round, it helped a lot for the other kids with their confidence. They're like, oh wow, that person like just did that, like I'm their age, like I could do that, like I could play an instrument, or like whatever, you know. Like it's very encouraging seeing like somebody else who might feel a little bit more comfortable to present themselves, like, and show that to another kid who might not be as comfortable. It's like, wow, like maybe I could do that, like I don't need to be scared. These kids are all super supportive and nice, you know. I don't have to worry about anything.
I just got to be friends with all these kids. I just got to go to this camp. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get in the Zoom chat, man. It was lit.
It was
Always.
Zoom chat. Hashtag the Zoom chat.
Hashtag Zoom chat.
Zoom chat final show. Hashtag.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, we are going to get into some London-based questions just for everybody. But just as a little roundabout, like, how can people sign up? Where are the camps happening this year? Likely online.
Okay, yeah. So week 1 is July 12th to the 16th. That's our intro to rock. And then week 2 is July 26th to the 30th. That's next level rock. And on our applications, or registration is open right now on our website. So if you just go to londongirlsrockcamp.ca, you can find all the info. And we sort of have just like a little bit of criteria. So like, for example, the next level rock, there's a few things you need to kind of check off if you can participate, but everyone is welcome to the intro, and we will provide you with instruments if you need them, and we'll get y'all set up no matter what you're thinking. So come hang out virtually. Join the Zoom chat.
Hashtag Zoom chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both are virtual this year as well, this summer, yeah.
LGR Zoom. LGRC Zoom. Hashtag.
That's right.
You're gonna have to start live tweeting everything. Get the hashtags going.
Yeah,
There we go.
man. So much work. Twitter's so much work.
Twitter is a lot of work. Now, so we do have some London questions for you all. As we are a London-based podcast, we wanted to round about some questions about the city. Does anyone have a London small business that you couldn't live without?
I probably couldn't live without Rebel Remedy.
I knew you were going to say Rebel.
Everyone probably knows I was going to say that.
I knew you were going to say Rebel. Rebel's pretty fantastic. Oh, I love Asmara's coffee. He's over on York, over there. Love it.
Yeah. Mine, honestly, is just all of the different London, like, foods. Like, all the different restaurants and everything here that are, like, family-owned. Those are the best to me.
Also the markets.
Yeah. The Covent Garden Market, like, everyone in there is amazing. Oh, love it.
If you were to have a perfect day in London, what would it entail?
Yeah, you go first, Nan.
I'm going to say go for a walk down to the trails over by down the river. Walk down the trails by the river, walk down the trail to downtown, and then go to Brown and Dixon's bookshop, and then go to Grow and Bloom, and then get ice cream after at Havens.
Nice.
That's
that
what
sounds.
That's a
That
good
does
day.
sound good.
That was my last, not this year's, no. This is the birthday before COVID happened. I remember doing that for my birthday, and I was like, wow, this is perfect.
Yeah, mine would probably be taking my dogs out for a walk out at one of the various parks we have here. Probably Gibbons Park, though. Just go walking over there, and then definitely stopping for ice cream. We'd probably stop at Merlimay, though.
Classic.
Really good.
Yeah.
I was there one time and they I tried to take a picture and I wasn't allowed. I think things have changed. But she was really hardcore about, I'm like, the aesthetic here is amazing. Anyways, love Merlimay, obviously. I would say that a perfect day is cruising on my bikes with my fam. We call it the Frog Pond, but it's the Ron Bennard installation, but it's a pond and all the plants that he grows behind Museum London. It's probably like my favorite art exhibition in the city. We call it the Frog Pond because in the summer it's jam full of frogs and lily pads. So we would probably hang there, maybe hit the splash pad depending on how we're feeling, hop on our bikes, ride on the bike lanes as good local cyclists would do, maybe stop to get a beverage to throw in my backpack. Oh, you know what we've been doing is we've been drinking this amazing like grapefruit drink at Whale Tea on Dundas Place. So magical. Getting a coffee somewhere, going to another park. We park hop now. This is what we do as parents. And we also listen to music really loudly when we're riding our bikes. So we'd be listening to various music depending on what Oda was into at the time. Could be Sound of Music, could be No Effects. We just don't know what he's up to these days. His music is evolving. But yeah, that's probably what we would do. The TVP, man. I love the TVP.
Great.
TVP is amazing. It rips. I love all the trails we have in this city as well.
So underrated. Such a hidden gem.
Go check out speaking of, you took the words out of my mouth here, Sav. Well, I'm wondering about a hidden gem in the city. Now that could be a person, place, or thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to just be a thing.
You guys go first. I can't think of anything quite yet.
A person, place, or thing.
I was honestly going to say that we're a hidden gem in town.
Girls rock.
I would agree.
I'd absolutely agree.
It's a good
'Cause,
answer.
a lot of people don't who aren't in the music scene might not have heard of us before, but it's such an amazing camp that's open to everyone of all musical backgrounds, whether you have no experience or a lot. So it's kind of hidden, but we're definitely a great place to go.
Very cool.
Great answer.
What an epic answer, Aaliyah. There's a lot of like great people living here that are, well, this is a generic statement, but one of the things that I always appreciate about London is that there's all these creative people that do live here for various reasons, whether it's like cost of living is lower, their family's here, whatever the case may be, but they have these massive careers, all over the world, but they call London home. Those are the people that fascinate me, that I think are so interesting that they call it home here. And yeah, there's lots of them.
Mm.
It's not
Lots of
really an
interesting
answer.
people here.
Yeah.
Lots of pretty cool people here.
There's a bunch of cool people here. Hanan, what's your
Yeah.
thought?
Yeah, I don't know. Only thing I could think of is what's the Anne's Park behind the market with the clamshell stage that we always chat about that needs to be for festivals.
You mean
That
Queen's
spot.
Park?
Queen's Park. Why do I want it? Why is Anne something? Queen Anne. I don't know. Either way,
I performed there once, and it needs to be more of a big venue.
The food trucks are back.
Ooh.
I
saw that.
Wednesdays and Thursday
too.
nights.
Yeah.
Park it at the market is back.
That's right. 2 nights
Oof.
now.
Oof.
I went last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to see you
Nice.
there every weekend. Every week, you guys. It's fun. That park is so important. Thanks for the reminder, Nan. I'm going to have to change my answer to that park.
Yep.
It is the biggest, most underutilized space in the core, and
It is.
has a splash pad, and it has it's the space. It could be so
It has
good.
a stage. It's perfect.
Park
Yeah.
culture, man. We got to bring back park culture in this community. Let's do it.
What's something that Londoners should be paying attention to? What, or there's a person, what or who is something Londoners should be paying more attention to?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be the person that says something political, but we really need to pay attention to the next municipal election. We really need to pay attention.
Preach.
We're losing a few really great. We are losing the progressive people on council, and so we really need to pay attention to who's coming in, and we need to rally around the people that we hear about that are going to take a stab at running, because municipal politics really matter. Unfortunately, I hate to be that person, but especially in this time as we recover and get back to seeing friends and people again in community, we really need to pay attention. And I'd say we really have to pay attention to the municipal election, and then we also need to pay attention to the other levels of government elections that are probably coming down the pipe. But yeah, it's time. The world is upside down, and we need to just be aware of our roles in that.
Just what's going on in general.
Yeah, totally. It's a wild time.
Yeah, also paying attention to London has such an amazing arts and music community. It's huge. There's tons of people in it, and I feel like there's just there could be a lot more in that realm with the arts and music community, more space for that. Yeah, definitely something to pay attention towards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
Preach.
gonna say paying attention to just our local community, shopping locally, and just especially as we come out of the pandemic, helping out those businesses who couldn't be open or who were struggling because they were just starting out. So paying attention to the local businesses, and as Nan said, our local musicians and artists, and our local spaces too, using those outdoor spaces and appreciating them and helping kind of get all of that back together.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I live in the Old East, and during the pandemic, we lost the Old East Village grocer. which
Yes.
was awesome to have. I lived right by the grocery. I loved it. It was amazing. And it's been really difficult not having, like, the closest grocery store is Superstore. I can't walk to Superstore and get my groceries, you know? So I feel like London misses out on a lot of opportunities with these nice, small, like, owned businesses, you know, like they don't pay attention to it enough, and we unfortunately miss out on them, you know, lose them.
Wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
Absolutely right.
Those
Yeah,
were
I apologize. My cats have been meowing this whole time. You guys could
it's all good.
Cats are welcome at this podcast.
Oh, 100%.
Cat friendly pod.
Absolutely. Cats, dogs, any animals, lizards, whatever you prefer. Just no parrots. All right. No,
They're so cheeky. They're too cheeky for us.
They always talk back, and I don't like that.
Do you remember the parrot at the market? You guys grew up here? You too?
I don't remember the parrot though.
Me neither.
Is it the blue parrot? Because there was this lady that came to Gathering on the Green, and she had like a blue parrot strapped to her chest, like it was like a child. I went up and pet it. I was blown away.
No, like old Covent Garden Market back in the day. I'm not even from London, but we used to come here and visit my grandparents, and there was a pet store in the back of the Covent Garden Market, and there was a parrot, and it was like vulgar, and it was like a hilarious thing. My brother and I loved it because we're like, I want to go see the parrot, because it would like say swears and stuff.
That's so funny.
So, and then in the stained glass upstairs at the market, you'll notice there's a parrot, and it's apparently like reflective of that parrot. I can't remember its name. Anyways, it was a funny parrot.
That's really cool.
Always talking back.
Hidden gem on the city right there. We have, just to finish off the episode here, we have a classic game. A classic for this show. Who's to say classic anywhere else, but absolutely a classic. It's time for this or that. The basic idea of this game is we're just going to give you two options. We're going to lightning round run through. Try not to think too long about what your answer is. Just give it, and then we're going to keep moving, okay?
Do we just all blurt? Is that what we're doing?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Blurt it out.
So you ready?
Yeah.
Starting with Western Fair Market or Covent Garden Market?
Covent Garden Market.
Both.
God.
You can't do that.
Oh, that's hard though.
Both.
Fine, Western Fair.
Oh, there you go. Sunfest or Home County?
Don't know if you do this.
Home County.
I feel like Sav's heart is just yeah.
Both.
I can't choose.
Aaliyah's just killing it. She's going through it.
Oh, Sunfest.
Masonville Mall or White Oaks Mall?
Either.
Yeah. I don't go to the mall really though.
Who has been in the last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Masonville.
I guess Masonville because I work near there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get around the mall.
No.
I don't even remember where I parked my car. I can't do the mall.
Unless it's Disney sections with like Goofy or Mickey, I don't know how to direct around.
Why you always just park at the theater? So it's like, okay, go back to the theater.
Theater. Yeah.
Yep.
Next up, Dundas East or Richmond Row?
East.
East.
Yeah.
That's East.
Definitely.
Love that.
Springbank Park or Gibbons Park?
Gibbons.
Gibbons, yeah.
Fanshawe or Western University?
I guess the Fanshawe.
What did you say, Sav?
I said Fanshawe, but I feel
Okay.
obligated to say that. But I said it.
Because you went to Fanshawe.
I went there.
Odyssey Records or Grooves Records?
Oh, that's a hard one, guys. You have to do that.
They just get harder as we go.
Oh, I'm gonna say Odyssey because I love you, Justin.
I know.
I do love Grooves, guys.
I know.
That's really tough.
Grooves has supported Rock Camp many a time. I will also say that I was at Odyssey Records today. Maybe Justin gets my vote today.
Yeah.
And how about Brown and Dixon or City Lights?
I'm going to say Brown and
Brown
Dixon.
and Dixon.
Yeah.
Would you rather bike the TVP or hike in an environmentally significant area, one of the trails?
Oh.
I'd bike the TVP.
I'd hike a trail because I can't bike.
Aw.
And then we have London Brewing Co-op or Anderson Craft Ales.
LPC, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to be on that boat, yeah.
And then the final one, Black Walnut or Asmara Coffee?
Asmara for me.
That's all right, yeah.
I'd say Asmara too, yeah.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Tough.
You
Tough
did
to
it.
make those community divides.
Yeah.
We love
I
you
got
all.
it. I gotta say,
We love all of these businesses.
Yeah.
normally people are much more just like, yep, no trouble.
Yeah.
You guys actually had a lot of trouble with these questions, which is great to see. That means you really care.
Yeah. You have no
All about
favorites.
relationships. We're all about relationships and all the great people that do all the magic in our community.
So maybe we should just like do this game again. You guys can all give opposite answers so that we just like everything's covered. Nobody's mad at anybody. It's perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. That's pretty much the show. So if you have anything you want to, like this camera, promote at this time, please do so. Otherwise, just like thank you so much again for taking the time. We have wanted to do this episode for a while, so this is really, really awesome.
Well, thanks for having us. We love what you guys do, and we appreciate the support for camp. And we're excited to get back in person with camp, but also we're excited about this digital exploration and what it means from a barriers and accessibility standpoint. So, we're here, we're going through it, we're navigating it, and we're just thankful for all the support from the community and to the staff and the volunteers and anyone who's ever donated, and everyone is just so, it's Rock Camp is warm, makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and I hope it does for everybody else too.
Agreed.
Yes.